So I think during those days, my dream would have been three. One is to eat 3 meals a day. Second, build a decent home for my parents. And third would be to have nice dress.
हाय गाइस, वेलकम अगेन टू डीप टॉक। डीप टॉक में आज आपका स्वागत है। टुडे आई हैव अ वेरी वेरी स्पेशल गेस्ट। आई हैव पीसी मुस्तफा हु इज सीईओ एंड co-founder of ID Foods. He is also known as the Batter King. Batter, for those who don't know, batter is like life for South Indian families. I am married to a South Indian, two states and everything. So I'm married to a Tamilian, and batter basically means whether it's dosa batter, idli batter, things like that. If you have ever made these things in the house, you probably know of this brand ID Foods. It is now a $500 million brand by valuation. Current estimates of the valuation. They are also in various other products, not just batter, in like filter coffee and things like that. And it is all self-made, and it is all coming from a guy who had an incredible upbringing. Guys, I'm sorry, today I'll be speaking more English because that's what Mustafa is more comfortable with. But Mustafa, welcome to Deep Talk. Thank you.
Thanks, Chetan.
Thank you for coming.
Precious mine.
And I am a loud Punjabi, and you're a soft spoken Malayali guy. So my only request would be to speak a little louder.
No issues.
Yeah,
I'll be
you can do
louder.
that for me. Great. That's because then we'll have great audio. And मैं थोड़ा थोड़ा हिंदी में बोलूँगा, just to kind of when you give something, guys. So मैं थोड़ा थोड़ा हिंदी में I'll tell you guys what Mustafa is saying for those who find it easier in Hindi. But we will talk, of course, in whichever language you're comfortable with. Uh, so yeah, Mustafa, I have used the products. I have used your products. The batter, I remember we when it first came in Mumbai, it used to sell out in the morning in the shops. So we had to go and quickly buy it. Otherwise, there'll be no dosas and there'll be no idlis. And if there are no dosas and no idlis, you know what happens to South Indians? They're not happy, right? So you have taken the whole noise. Every morning, South Indian families had this noise coming of like grinders. You've taken the noise away, right? Was that your dream that I will one day make sure that nobody has to make batter the hard way again?
No, the dream would be to throw all the grinders into the Arabian Sea.
Really? Apart from your grinder, which is in the factory. One big grinder. I mean, yes. Yes. So those, and then what the other product I've used a lot, and told so many people about, because people now, of course, people are getting to know more and more, but the filter coffee and the single use filter coffee and the actual, you can just carry it anywhere and you can have great coffee. Now, I know, guys, a lot of people think coffee is coffee, but obviously not.
Filter coffee is different.
Of course, and instant coffee and filter coffee. So there is that brewed coffee, and you make it in the machine, and of course that is a different level of labor involved. But the great thing about ID coffee is it is as convenient as a filter coffee, as convenient as an instant coffee.
It's liquid coffee, right?
It's liquid coffee. It's like comes in a liquid, like in a Tetra Pak kind of thing, and it is as convenient as a filter coffee, as an instant coffee, but far superior in terms of taste and in terms of everything.
Especially for a South Indian.
No, no, North Indian also. I am very particular about my coffee now. That's all I have. So I've just now I only have black coffee. Do you have a lot of coffee?
No, I'm more of a tea drinker than a coffee drinker.
No, that's not allowed. How are South Indian? That's not allowed for South Indian. Actually, yeah, yeah, there is tea in
I
Kerala.
drink black tea.
And Kerala does have tea gardens and all, like Munnar and all.
Yeah, even my place. Why not?
Why not? They have tea. So you're from? He's from Wayanad, guys. For those who don't know Wayanad, Wayanad is famous for two things now. One is it is Rahul Gandhi's constituency, and it is also the home of ID, right? It's an amazing brand. I mean, it's really amazing brand. I'll tell you, I love the batter. I love the products. I love we'll talk about all that. The philosophy, which is like everything has to be fresh, ethical, the ethical food, no preservatives, nothing bad in it, freshness. And I love the design. I love the design of the packets. I love the design, little things like how you squeeze the thing out to make a vada. It's just really nice. And I'll tell you one other thing I love. One ad you made about doctors.
Yeah, that was my personal favorite as well.
Yeah. So how did this come about?
It, during the COVID time, we were trying different things and sitting at home, and I happened to watch this Google ad. Have you seen the Google ad of partition ad? That was probably the standard we were looking at, right? And then I told the agency that give me something related to the COVID time, right? But super emotional, and set Google ad as the standard for you, right? That's your baseline
Are you an emotional guy? You come across as very calm and composed.
emotionally.
Very emotional. Really. So we'll talk about you. Of course, ID's done all these great things, $500 million company, everything, and you've done it on your own. But let's go back to your origins, guys.
Not my own, I'm just one of the team member.
That's what all great leaders say. But yes, of course, it's not just you. It's your there are other co-founders. There's a whole team. How many people now work for ID?
2,500.
2,500, and it's all been created because you had a dream to, I don't know, make sell batter in Bangalore. Let's get to that. But first, there's a equally fascinating journey you have, which is your childhood, right? For me, that fascinates me as much as the business. Yes, you have made a business worth thousands of crores, which is incredible. But what you did in your childhood is also pretty incredible. So you were born in a farm, and your father, you said, was a coolie.
Yep.
Tell me about that. Like, so where? Let's go back. Let's go back to the day you were born. Which hospital? Like how they show in movies. There's a hospital and baby crying and lightning. So I always like to begin with that. So what? Where was that and when?
Hospital?
Oh, there's no.
There's no hospital.
There was no hospital.
There were no roads.
There were no roads. So where were you born?
I had to walk miles to my school.
But the birth was a home birth.
Oh,
Yeah, most of us think babies are born in a hospital, but guys, the reality of India is that a lot of babies are still born. So you were born at home delivery
yeah.
with some midwife, and
We didn't have a proper roads. We didn't have electricity in the village.
so it's Wayanad, the town, or it's a somewhere.
It was a remote area of Wayanad. Almost, it's called a place called Chandalod, around 14 kilometers away from the town.
Okay,
No, there were no roads.
no roads.
No roads, no electricity.
Village, no electricity.
I'm saying during those days.
In those days, yes, yes, of course. And what do they grow there? Rice?
Coffee.
Coffee.
Yeah. Coffee and ginger.
So tell me, like, today we live in a world where people cannot be away from their phone or data or Wi-Fi for more than 20 minutes. You are telling me you lived and grew in a place where, forget internet, there was no electricity. So there's no electricity means there's no TV, there's no nothing. What is life like in such places? What was your like when you were like a child or whatever?
So my dad used to work for, when we were four, myself and three my sisters, and my dad was finding it difficult to meet both ends of the family. So he used to work for 12, 14 hours every day, earning 50 rupees a day.
And what was his job exactly?
His job was to clean the soil,
Mhm.
or he also used to take up ginger farming, and our our job was to uproot the ginger.
So ginger grows like a root.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah,
a
yeah,
root plant.
yeah, yeah. So uproot the ginger.
So you, as a child, used to go.
Yeah, yeah. So I used to work along with my dad, uproot the ginger.
How old were you?
10 years,
Okay, 10-year-old. And you're going uprooting the ginger.
and clean the soil.
Huh. Clean the soil as in?
You have to clean the ginger, no? I mean, the
Wash
soil.
it.
Not washing. You need to rub it,
Mhm.
and sand, the mud goes off, and then load it in a bag,
Mhm.
put it on a shoulder, load it in a truck.
Okay. How much that bag is? How
I would carry maybe 20 kg kind of thing,
at 10 years of age
and my dad would carry maybe 60, 70 kg.
of ginger and load it in trucks all day. That's what you do. All day.
That is mostly the kind of work we used to do.
And he gets 50 rupees he gets for it.
50 seconds for 14 hours.
14 hours. And like, so that's like what I'm assuming if it takes, there's no days off. Or it
Seven,
is
seven, 7 days a week.
7 days. So non-stop if he works, that's 1,500 rupees a month. And he has a family of 6. So per head it's 300 rupee income.
No, 50 rupees income plus I used to get 10 rupees.
Oh, you used to get 10, so 60. Okay, 1800 bucks for 6 people. So that's 300 rupees per head per person. How do you run your life in that? What do you eat? What kind of basic life?
So basic rice and tapioca. So 3 time meal was a distant dream.
Hmm.
My dad was not able to afford it,
So you were so excited, we will have only 2 meals.
and breakfast was a luxury.
What was a treat for you? What was like, wow, today was an amazing day, we had this or whatever?
That usually happens on Eid day, where we get to eat well, rice and curries, chicken, and all of them. That
Only on Eid.
usually that happens.
Otherwise?
Otherwise, regular stuff.
And did you go to school?
I used to go whenever I was free from the farm.
I was free from the farm.
So I was very poor in my studies.
Really?
Very poor in my studies. I was a school dropout.
Yeah, I heard you like, when did you drop out?
I failed in class 6.
You failed, like fail.
Literally failed, and then I didn't have courage, or I didn't have any enthusiasm to go back to school, and stopped going to school.
Wow.
And I still remember my maths teacher, Matthew sir, came to a farm.
Yeah.
Myself and my dad was working in a ginger farm. He came to our farm and asked me to go back to school. Or his motive was to take me back to school, but I was not interested. But with motivation of my parents and teachers, I went back to school after a few months.
So somebody, you dropped out of school and then luckily you went back, would you say? Yeah. But what was life like in a village, like with such limited means? What would you do in their free time? What do people do?
Play games.
What games?
Volleyball was my favorite.
Uh-huh.
Used to play volleyball. Sometimes cricket as well.
Did you at that time feel like, okay, we are poor? Honestly, like, did you feel like, yeah?
Yeah.
In what way? When does it hit you? I want to understand because,
I had a situation wherein, you know, we didn't have a proper home. It was a kacha home made with hay.
okay,
And on a Eid day, it rained. And, it leaked. That day I felt.
like there was, like everything was wet.
It was wet. Everything was washed. And
Kerala, it rains a lot. Yeah. Yeah. And then what did you feel?
so those days I felt, something should change. Right. I felt like helpless. Helpless. There was no one willing to help us.
Hmm. It's just your family.
It is not just our family. I think that was the case with most of the families in that village.
Everybody was.
Yeah, but we were probably the poorest in the village during those days. But
You felt like at that time in life, what was your dream? Like, obviously, it was not to have a 4,000 crore company. Uh, you probably didn't even know what is 1 crore.
forget about crore. You didn't even know what is 1,000.
You never seen 1,000 rupees in your life.
No,
Wow. So,
I don't even seen 100 rupees during those days. Serious.
yeah. So, what was your dream? What will you do when I grow up? I'll also become like work on the farm, or what was it?
So I think couple of points happened in my life. One, initial days, my dream was to become a math teacher because Matthew sir was my role model during those days.
Who was Matthew sir? He was a teacher.
He was my teacher.
So you felt he was really cool and like really.
So he was the person who brought me back to school along with my parents. So I thought I should become math teacher one day. When I did my primary schooling, then we got electricity in the village. Amitabh Kant was the character.
At that time. Now he's.
Yeah, Niti Aayog. So he came in with a white shirt and a black trouser, very well dressed. So then I thought I should become a collector.
This is the one. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that was your thing. Like, how does one get this job? Because of the clothes and everything.
So I think during those days, my dream would have been three. One is to eat 3 meals a day. Second, build a decent home for my parents. And third would be to have nice dress,
Nice dress. Why? You had very few clothes.
very few clothes. We get 2 pairs of uniforms. That is difficult for a year, right?
Yeah, and that's all you used to wear, uniform only. Did you like? Was there any travel? Did you go to the city sometimes?
I didn't even know this word exists outside my village.
You didn't know.
I have not seen a word outside Wayanad till I completed my 10th.
Wow. Were you? Would you say you were happy?
I was happy in that village.
Yeah, it's a happy life.
Yeah. So I also used to do some business during those days.
Okay.
So during summer holidays, I used to borrow money from my uncle and walk all the way 14 kilometers to the town and buy chocolates at a wholesale price, bring it to my village, set up
All walking.
walking.
So 14 kilometers walking.
There were no way,
No bicycle, or nothing.
nothing. So bring it back to my village and set up a makeshift store using my mom's sari and dad's bench in front of my house. And mom also makes lassi and all. And then I would sell and make money.
That was your first.
That was my first profitable venture.
Okay, I was gonna ask, how do you know the profit? Like, how did you know how much have I bought the chocolates for? How much I need to retail it at? Like, how was that?
So that was pretty easy, right? You buy chocolate box at say, it's 10 rupee for example,
Yeah.
and you get 100 chocolates. The cost is 10 paise.
Yes.
And then I used to sell it for 20 paise or 15 paise. So that was 50% margin.
Yeah. And how much would you make from that flourishing business?
So that was a highly profitable venture for me because I made some money with 3 4 summer holidays. With all this money, I used that money at the profit generated from that. I bought a goat.
You bought a goat.
Yes.
This is fascinating. So you bought chocolates, like basically toffees, because if you're getting 10 rupees for 100, that's like a toffee. So you sold toffees, 14-kilometer walking back. Like obviously you didn't have a huge capital, so you have to keep walking back. I'm guessing because you don't have inventory,
Yeah, yeah,
and then you keep walking back about once a week,
yeah.
then get more. Then but you had the concept of saving the money, not like blowing it up, partying, like whatever.
What is that party in the village?
When you go to Wayanad or go with your friends and like have a whatever, go to a restaurant or something. No, you would save it.
It's no concept of restaurant or high end prices
It's hard for me to figure out. So you don't have a place.
during those days. No.
There's only ginger and coffee. Okay, and so three summers. So 3 years you saved the money. You had a piggy bank or what?
Yeah.
You had a piggy bank. You put the money. After 3 years, you took out the money and you said, "Let me buy a goat."
Yes.
That is not something what people do. At how old were you?
12 13 years.
At 13 years, you said, "I want to use this money to buy a goat." Okay, why goat?
Because I thought it was a profitable venture again.
Again, you thought. So, what was the goat business model?
So I bought one goat.
For how much?
I think some 70 80 rupees.
In the village only, someone sold. Male.
Female.
Female.
Yeah. But that was the point.
Yeah, yeah.
And then it became 2 3 4 goats.
Okay, so you got the female a boyfriend somewhere,
Yes.
and then they had a goat litter,
Yes.
which you also kept.
Yes. And I became 4 goats. And then I sold the goat,
4 goats.
4 goats. And I then bought a cow.
Is this a real story? Or are you making like just
That's the real story.
That is fascinating. I mean, I'm telling this is to me this is more fascinating than ID Foods. I'm sure ID Foods is, but this is and so amazing. Kids these days, at 13 years of age, they want an iPad, they want mobile phones, they want video games. You're playing the world's best video game, which is life. Like people are buying like in video games they are fooling around with virtual animal. You are literally buying goats. I mean, you have to. How does one keep a goat? Like you have to look after it.
Yeah. So after school days, school time, I look after the goat.
What all do you have to do? You have to
I feed, right? Get grass for it, right? And feed him. Feed her this one the rice waste, right? One of them, right?
bran. All that.
So we feed, and
And how did you know you have to get it mate? You have to get a mate for it.
all of them, jugaad approach, right, worked.
No, I want to know you. You do have it. You have something which other kids didn't have. Not all kids in India's villages buy goats and make 4 goats and then buy a cow. Then he sold those 4 goats.
Yeah, I bought a cow.
You bought a cow, female, another.
Yes,
So that is the your scaling up. Now toffee to goat to cow. Okay.
and then it gave me milk.
And you sold that milk.
Sold the milk. That became a regular income for the family.
Oh.
Supported my dad.
By that one cow.
Yeah,
It gave how much and how much
2-3 liters milk we get, and that was reasonably okay
and then you sell it in the village only.
in the village only.
And then that was your support. And then that cow thing was what you had through school.
Yes, during school days I had.
You're
Even during college days I had it.
even when you were at NIT, you had a cow.
Not an 80. My yeah, previous
college,
the
11,
college
12,
11, 12, yeah.
Okay.
That time, of course,
What
I
was
mean
the name
during
of-
those
What
days,
was the name of the cow?
no, I didn't have a name.
You didn't name the cow. Okay. The goats didn't have a name.
No,
Okay. And then, okay, I'm just trying to imagine. And how old was 14, 15? So you know how to look after a cow.
yeah.
You can take the milk out. You can.
Mom is there to help, na, to take the milk out and all. But otherwise, I mean myself and mom take care of it.
One cow. Okay. And then at the same time, you're saying you failed in class 6, but when you went back to school and did this cow goat business, you also became good at studies. You also started studying properly. What changed?
Going back after failing in a class is probably the most humiliating experience in life,
Yeah.
because
Everybody knows.
so no, that's one thing. Everybody's looked down to you as a failed student,
Yeah.
as a failure, little failure. Moreover, you know, you used to sit with, I mean, you used to be a senior, and now you have to sit with the juniors.
Yes.
Right? Now your classmates and friends are your seniors now.
Yes.
You got to respect them now, and the juniors who used to respect you earlier tease you now, because you come in as a failed student.
Yeah.
So even after going back to school, I felt like I should stop it. I mean, I didn't. It was not at all motivating for me to continue in the school, but my parents and teachers supported me like anything. There is probably one point I want to, I mean, for the audience out here, one experience I want to share. Right, I was very low on my confidence.
Hmm.
I was a failure. Class 6 was a failure. But when I went back to school, my maths teacher, Matthew sir, my role model during those days, gave me one tip. Probably that's one of the best tip I got in my life. Is that when you're low on confidence, take baby steps. So he asked me to focus on only one subject.
Hmm.
He said, I know you're reasonably good in maths, because I was also doing this goat business, right? All of them. Toffee business, all of them. So I was reasonably good in maths. So he said, you focus on maths, leave all of the subjects. So in the first term examination, in fact, Onam exam, which is the first time examination, I became class topper in maths.
Wow.
Failed student becoming class topper in maths was like something which people didn't expect to happen. Then I got the attention.
Yeah.
That gave me confidence. And that confidence gave me more success. Then I started focusing on other subjects. I became a school topper for all subjects in the next exam.
So the lesson is, if you're failing in life, focus on that one thing, get one small win, and use that win to get the confidence, and then get back.
So what I've learned is, especially when you learn confidence, take the baby steps, and that will give you confidence once you win, and that confidence will give you more success.
Okay.
So it's like a vicious loop.
No, that's very good. And दोस्तों मैं हिंदी में भी बता देता हूँ. मुस्तफ़ा is telling me कि जब आप लाइफ में कॉन्फिडेंस में आपका बहुत गिरा हो, बहुत कम हो, तो बेबी स्टेप्स लो. वो उनके मैथ्स टीचर मैथ्यू ने भी कहा कि छोटे छोटे कदम लो. और उन्होंने सिर्फ एक सब्जेक्ट पे फोकस किया. He had failed in class 6. Imagine failing, joining the same kids who are in class 5, joining the same kids now. And he then focused on maths and topped that, and that changed the whole game. Everybody started looking at you differently. Then you self confidence also goes up, right? So yeah, but you must have also been seen as a successful businessman. Like you must have had money and other kids don't, because you have a goat and you have a
I have money,
car.
but I was not spending it, right? Yeah. It was the piggyback.
Yeah, everything is to go there. Okay. And then so you started, and then you studied for engineering. NIT doesn't just happen. I mean, I've not heard, like, I've been to an engineering college. Yes, people came from all backgrounds, but very rare that they come from ultra rural backgrounds, like you're saying, where like barely electricity has touched. And was English and all there? Like you were learning English, because for engineering you have to study, most of the books are in English, right?
It was a Malayalam medium school, and when I went for engineering, it was probably one of the toughest thing to.
How did you even do the exam? They had an exam in Malayalam?
Exam was in English, but I know. So what happened is after my 10th, I went to a place called Foreign College in Calicut.
Okay.
That's the first time I saw world outside Wayanad.
How come you chose to? You had to go. Just you did well in class 10.
Yeah, I did pretty well in class 10. So then I got an admission in a place called Foreign College. Stayed in a hostel there.
What happened to the cow?
Mom was taking care, and that experience of staying in a hostel, I learned English as well.
But you did not know English till then.
No,
No English.
it was Malayalam medium. Basic English, like that you get like in the exam, right? Yeah, yeah. Those things, yes.
But you went. Was it not difficult? Like, because you are in this. This sounds like a. Was it like a English medium school?
So I was in a Malayalam medium school till 10th. Then I went to English medium.
So did people judge you, like, who's this country bumpkin who has come?
No, but I had a great friend who used to help me every day translating what was being taught in the class. Like you were translating from English to Hindi, right?
Yeah.
Translating for me from English to Malayalam and thereby catch up.
So that is class, which is of course very helpful. What about socially? You get judged in India, right? He's come from this poor village. This country boy doesn't even speak a word of English. Did you face that?
That happens.
Yeah, tell me about it. What happens? Because others may be facing. So people need to know what all you have also faced. That is very important. I think in the journey of ID, it's one thing you come from a smooth background and you create a company. But when you come from a background like this, your achievement becomes even more stark and unbelievable, frankly. So it's important you tell in detail whatever humiliation you faced, whatever, what happened.
So during those days, my dad could not afford to, pay my hostel fees or, for the mess fees, right? So we were put in a charity hostel and charity mess. So we used to sort of live in the leftover food from the other mess.
Oh, really?
So that is one aspect of it. Went through that tough time.
Tough as in, what was tough?
Everyone knows that this guy is getting charity mess. That is not easy, especially when you when your friends are in the same class and they're paying and you're getting charity mess. It's not an easy thing to. Um, but then, luckily, I think my friends, especially during those days, were very very supportive, and they helped me a lot. One, of course, wherever I need financial support, they helped me. Uh, some of them had some money, and moreover, even in terms of education, right? Because I was very weak in English, they helped me. They had given some special class for me, right? All of them really worked. But some people still look up to you, right? As a country fellow, right? That's okay. Just ignore, right? And take a sweet revenge on them.
Well, you have, haven't you?
Best way is to prove that they're wrong, not by telling them, but and showing them in future that this is what you could achieve.
Yeah, by actions. Let your actions do the talking. But see, many people come here and they have done big businesses and they were self-made, and they've all come from a time where they had less money. Now they have a lot of money. But you have, I think you're probably the only guest I'll get amongst the founders. I can't recollect. Maybe there are others in India. I'll try to find them. But you've seen poverty, like poverty. What's the worst thing about poverty?
So I think the food is the most important thing. All other things take backseat. So the reason I failed in class 6 was that my dad was finding it difficult to meet both ends of the family, and I had to support him. So I stopped going to school, even if it was 10 rupee a day. I used to get it from Ginger Farm, and thereby support him to have a 2 meals at least a day. That's how the poverty plays an extremely important this one, right? So if you can't feed a person, there's no point in giving him GAN.
First food.
First is food, must be food.
Is that why you're in the food business? Food is like something else to you. We have never seen that kind of hunger.
People think it is a coincidence that I'm in the food business, but I think it is by choice.
Because you've seen hunger.
And thank God, today we are able to serve more than 1 million Indians every day with world's best food idli.
It is really incredible, and we will come to that. So in grade 10, 11, you are there. You're like being judged a little bit. You're eating in charity mess. You're the poor kid, but a nice kid. You have some good friends. They're helping you. How did you feel like? How did this NIT preparation come about?
I didn't know about NIT.
Okay.
In fact, the only reason I took, in my plus two, I took first physics, maths, and chemistry. Maths, it's called PCM, physics, chemistry, maths, because I thought taking physics, chemistry, maths will help you to become a collector. Because if you remember my past, this one, right? I had seen Amitabh Kant, and I want to become a collector. So that is the only reason I decided to go for PC.
Okay. So you said maybe I'll do this.
And I didn't know about the stream called engineering.
Huh. Oh, you didn't even know what is an engineer. You're like through this you can become that.
I don't know. So I thought after this, you get a chance to become a collector. That was my understanding.
Hmm.
So I decided to go for it.
So you prepared?
No, so then during my college days, 12th in fact, I came to know about the research stream called engineering, and my friends were preparing for it. I also went for it, but unfortunately, I had to pay fees for entrance examination.
For just the exam.
No, for the preparation.
Yeah. Oh, for the coaching classes.
Unfortunately, I didn't have money. My dad was not able to afford. And then another teacher of mine, Professor T. Muhammad sir, said he was the teacher. He said, "Come in, I'll pay for your fees." So he paid my fees and put me into the coaching class.
What is it about you that people always help you? Looks like friends have helped you. Your maths teacher took a special fondness to you. Your teacher here. What is it about you? You think that
I think the sincerity and genuineness. Right? If you're trying to cheat someone, they know that I was helpless and I didn't beg. They knew the situation and then said they'll help.
okay. Without that, you wouldn't be where you are today, right? It's funny.
All the credit goes to all those people who helped me, my parents, all of them. Yeah.
Yeah. So you prepared to the coaching classes and then you got a rank in AIEEE. You did.
No, I did pretty well. In fact, I got a 63rd rank in Kerala entrance examination,
Wow.
and that is something which even I couldn't believe. And then I got into NIT Calicut,
NIT Calicut. Which stream of engineering?
computer science. Yeah,
So did you know computers at that time?
I had only seen a computer.
But you chose computer science.
Yeah.
Because you're like, okay, we'll see. Yeah. So what was that like?
So even I don't know which stream to choose. When the placement officer suggested that this might be better for you because computers has future, so you take it. So that's the reason we said computer science.
And what was it like when you went to NIT?
Again, great friends, right? I was poor, but then my friends, their parents were reasonably rich, so was able to manage things. So they helped.
You're always been your identity, like being poor was part of your identity. And now you're rich. Like you're one of the richest people on the planet. Like let's face it, right? I mean, it's like you're very, wealthy now, materially, if you can't just, is it like, what is it like for the brain to adjust? Does the brain adjust? Ever adjust? Does that poor kid with goats ever go away?
I don't think much has changed in my life.
Yeah,
I mean, I would have a decent home and decent car.
yeah, that's it. But in here, you still realize the value of money? Like, now you're in those circles where people spend, I don't know, 50,000 rupees a night on a hotel room, or you know what I mean? Like the 2 lakhs on a designer bag, or does it like, do you like see it and you remember, man, what this money can do, right?
I am a miser along those lines.
Why judge yourself with labels, miser? But tell me about it. Like, what is it like?
So I ensure. I mean, I pay only if it is value for money, right? If I think it is worth, I pay for it.
Do you still look for discounts?
I only buy when there is a discount.
Really?
Even my dress, for example, I buy at wholes. I mean, at a time when there is a discount, right, for a year, and keep it.
Really? Like on Prime Day or something, like you buy.
Yeah.
You do realize,
Even now, yeah.
you do realize you're worth thousands of crores.
But that
In the maths, like the maths of 500 rupee discount, and like, do you, or like, is it hard? It's obviously hard to adjust to a totally different way of spending and living, and
no, I haven't reached the stage yet.
you don't plan.
I don't want to.
Why?
I'm happy what I'm doing, and what I strongly believe is, you know, money is not yours.
Okay, go explain.
I believe in a philosophy called the money belongs to the Almighty God. Whatever is yours today was someone else's yesterday, and will become someone else's tomorrow. You will be answerable to the Almighty God for the money has given to you and how you spend it.
So nice.
I ensure that I earn a lot of money and use it for the right cause.
When you see poor people on the road today, you're in Mumbai, you'll see them. When you see poverty, sometimes you see it. Sometimes in India, it's well hidden now, and it's less also now from the time you were growing up, but it's still there. You know, how does it affect you?
We have many projects that we do.
No, that is what you do. But emotionally, you're saying you're a very emotional person. Yes, I know about the ID and the CSR. Let's not talk about how does it affect you, because we see it and we feel bad, but I've never been in that place.
Mm.
Right, I've never been that person who never had clothes or never had proper food. So you can relate at a different, that's why I'm curious to know.
I'll probably share a story with you again from my childhood days.
Yes, please.
This was, and I think that will answer your question. This was during my engineering days. So after my 12th, I got engineering, but for some reason, my mark list was withheld.
Did?
My mark list was withheld.
Hmm.
Mark list was not released. So same time, my dad had an accident, a major accident. A tractor ran over his hand, in fact, and I had to go through surgery, and he was bedridden, literally bedridden. And that time, with a broken hand, my dad went through various university, campuses, college, universities, and all of them to get the mark list released along with me. And we were not able to get the mark list released. One day, we were returning from Calicut University back to a village, and by that time, they had built a road in my village. This was when I was in 12th. So we took a bus from Calicut to Wayanad on the Western Ghats. On the way, it had a breakdown, and we were, the last bus from the town to my village was at 9 p.m. and we reached, Calcutta, which is a town, around 10 p.m. So by that time, everything was closed. There was no bus available, and we were hungry. We didn't have food as well, and my dad didn't have money to get a taxi. So we decided to walk overnight with my dad's left hand broken. This 14 kilometers from this town, uh, hungry, right? He was holding my left hand in his right hand, and we both were walking. And it was raining. It was good that it was raining because we both were crying,
Wow.
and we were not able to see the tears at least. That's the kind of life I've gone through, and I understand all of them. Those pains. So all these things when I see, it reminds me those
Whenever I see a poor person, an old man with his son, it's really amazing what you have survived and what you've kept your.
So while we were walking that night, and the situation that you need to look at is my dad had gone to surgery, and he had a fractured hand, and he was holding that here and holding, you know, me in another hand. We were walking, and there were some, uh, you know, jeeps going through, and nobody was willing to help us. What kind of world it is?
Yeah.
But that's how life is.
I mean, that's why, I mean, to come from that kind of background to where you are today, it's incredible to come where you are today for anyone. But to come from that just doesn't happen. That just, like, the class of people, there is a class of people in India who are just denied opportunity to ever live their dreams or become an entrepreneur. They're just not allowed.
So if I had to summarize my story, my life story and ID story, I can probably do it in 4 words, and that is the power of determination.
Hmm.
Every time this happened, I was determined that I will solve it one day in my life. When that Eid day, it was my kacha home was leaking. I decided I made up my mind that I will definitely build a decent home for my parents. So it happened. So
You can build them any home they want today. Have you?
yes, I did.
Where?
Same place,
In the village only. They're still there.
still village.
Now I'm so curious about that village.
Do come.
Yeah, you should tell. I'm sure it'll become a tourist spot. Now people will go. I don't want to see the goats. The 4 goats must have given more goats now. Goats, all the goats. Okay. Okay. Wow. You really, like. It's rare that I get moved in a podcast, and this first time actually. Uh, NIT. What kind of a student were you? Good.
I was a good student.
By then you picked up English.
I picked up English.
For people who have problem with English, it's a big thing in India. What tips would you give them?
Practice, practice, practice.
Hmm.
I did few things. I tried to. I mean, I started reading English newspapers in the which was available in the hostel, and I started speaking with my friends with broken English.
When people laugh and all, that didn't matter.
It's okay. Even now, my English is very poor, but I'm still.
Come on. Your English is perfect. You're doing such a long podcast. It's perfect.
But I can still manage. My confidence level is still low, but I can manage. And then I started speaking in front of mirror.
Hmm.
Very very shy guy. Even today I am, but during those days I could not speak even a single English word.
Okay.
Maybe I'll share a story with you on this one as well, right? During my engineering, the final semester of engineering, I had done reasonably well, but then I had to give a seminar. As a subject, there was a seminar, and you have to give a seminar on your project, right, to the faculty. You have to present the project to the faculty. It was my favorite subject called cryptography.
Hmm.
I had prepared very well. I knew subject very well, and I went to present. The moment I stood in front of my teachers and faculty, I could not speak any single English word.
Okay.
I came out crying that day. Literally came out crying that day. But that day I made up my mind that I will become a public speaker one day in my life.
Wow.
Then I started practicing, reading, and listening, all of them. Right. Again, could be such a coincidence that I was invited to speak at Harvard Business School
Yes.
and United Nations and few others.
You've spoken so many places. I've seen your YouTube videos. Yeah. No.
The power of determination.
The power of determination. That can help you achieve anything. You finished NIT and then you took up a software job. Then
Yes.
so that was your first proper salary.
I want to share the story with you. I got my first job from campus interview. Got an offer for 14,000 rupees a month. And when I told my dad, he thought it is my monthly annual package
Really?
because he was getting paid 1,500 rupees a month, 1,400, 1,500 rupees a month. Here I was getting 40,000 rupees. He couldn't believe it. I joined Manhattan Associates in Bangalore. Got my first month salary. I handed over to my dad. He literally cried seeing that money.
What was that moment for you?
He had never seen that kind of money in his lifetime.
Wow.
It was actually more than his lifetime savings.
Your first month salary after college. That was the first time he saw like whatever 10,000, 12,000 rupees, whatever you got after cutting and all. Yeah. Wow.
He took some money out of it and gave me some money for my expenses. I went back to Bangalore, went to Brigade Road, went to this Zodiac showroom, bought that white shirt,
Oh, the collector shirt.
collector shirt, with my first month salary.
That was your first proper shirt you bought
Yes.
in your life. Wow. And what was life in Bangalore like? First few, like you enjoyed yourself? Did you go out? Then like you had friends.
Again, great friends. I did work with Motorola India, Manhattan Associates for a while, then moved to Motorola India. Motorola sent me to Ireland
First time abroad.
and got a passport, of course, after that. And then traveled to Ireland, worked in Ireland for a while. Then I got a job offer from Citibank in Saudi Arabia, Riyadh.
Okay.
1 lakh rupee salary a month.
Wow. You told your dad? What did he say? This is like your 10 years. You're just shocking your dad all the time.
1 lakh rupee a month salary during those days. Again, dad couldn't believe, but I said, I'm going.
Yeah.
Got it. And with that money, the first few months of salary, I built a decent home for my parents, not leaking.
So that was until then they were still in the thatch thing.
Yeah.
All through your college, everything. Okay. Wow.
Built a decent home for my parents. Arranged wedding of my sisters. We didn't have a car. Yeah, the car was not there. Then I decided to come back to India.
Why?
Came back to India for, I would say, 3 reasons. One, after my engineering, I wanted to pursue my higher studies, but unfortunately, the financial situation was not strong enough for me to, continue my studies. So I decided to take up a job. Second, I want to spend more time with my parents. And third, and probably the most important thing, there were a lot of smart kids in my village, much smarter than me, but they had not seen a world outside. They didn't get a good career break. I thought I can do something about it. So I came back to India with an objective of creating employment for smart kids in my village, and that's how I came back. That's how I decided to come back to India. After coming back to India, I of course I wanted to pursue my MS in computer science, but of course took up a job with Intel India at that time. During Intel India days, interaction with my managers and my colleagues, I thought I would probably like management job better than a technical job. So I thought I should do MBA. Okay, but again something happened during that time. Um, I I was living in Bangalore city. On a weekend, I went to this place called Banakata National Park. You been to Banakata National Park?
I heard of it. Yes.
It's around 40 kilometers away from the city. We went for a family picnic on a weekend. Zoo it is. On the way, I happened to see this beautiful place, beautiful campus called IIM Bangalore. I was so interested to go inside the campus and see the campus. Unfortunately, I didn't know anybody inside the campus. I didn't have courage to go and ask somebody to let me inside the campus. That day, I made up my mind that I will enter this campus one day in future.
Power of determination.
Power of determination. I practiced. If you look at my background, I was a below average student. My IQ was very very weak. All the quant test, logical reasoning test that you had to go through was almost impossible for you to crack for a below average student like me. I used to get up 5 in the morning for my prayer, practice every day for 2 years, 2 hours every day. That was good enough for me to get entry into IIM Bangalore. I not only got entry into IIM Bangalore, recently I was awarded as the youngest distinguished alumni award in the history of IIM Bangalore in front of my parents. That was probably the proudest moment.
Proudest moment of life. Wow. Well, I mean, if you're definitely the most deserved that distinguished alumnus, I mean, how many you've created a worldwide brand. You went into IIM, and out of IIM you can come up with, like I said, even more lakhs salary, right? You get very good salaries, but you didn't do that. Then you went completely on this route of doing a startup, doing this ID. Tell me about that. How did that happen? How come weren't you tempted to take up these lovely banks and all this?
So when I came back, as I told you, right, I decided to come back to India with an objective of creating employment for smart kids in the village. And during my MBA days, I used to discuss various ideas with my cousins, who used to be my childhood friends as well. My cousins were running a small-time kirana store in a place called Indiranagar in Bangalore. We discussed various ideas, and one such idea was about idli batter. This my cousin's store had my cousin's store had a vendor who was supplying idli batter in a plain pouch with a rubber band on the top. You will still see in some part of Matunga in Mumbai. This batter had all sort of quality issues, service complaints, and hygiene issues. My cousins tried to fix the issue with the vendor multiple times. It didn't work out. That's when we thought, why don't we try to do it ourselves? So we started experimenting, developing the product. It took us almost 1 year to get the product right,
Wow.
to develop the right product with the right set of ingredients and all that. Once we got that right, this was in 2004-5 time.
While you were studying.
While I was studying, and my cousins were running the show.
Okay.
It took us almost 1 year to get the product right. Once we got the product right, we thought we have cracked it. We took the product to the market. Then was the biggest surprise. Consumers won't buy a ready-made batter. We thought we had a great product, but they're not used to buying a batter from outside. It took us 9 months to get 20 customers.
20 customers. Wow.
But we didn't give up. We continued. If you pause for a moment, as you mentioned, I had very tough childhood, but then I had done my engineering in computer science from NIT Calicut. I had done my MBA from IIM Bangalore. Had a cushy job. My colleagues and classmates were having corporate lunches, sipping Costa coffee, and here I was on the street trying to sell idli
Better.
and hoping to make money one day in future. But that's how business are built.
How?
If you look at this, it was a back-breaking job.
Hmm.
Our shirt would be soaked in sweat, but it was great learning. We were super confident that we'd make it one day successful in future, but that was tough.
Stuff.
Again, I'm just fast forwarding.
Yeah.
For the initial 8 years, there was nobody willing to support us on the idli batter business, because if I had started a pizza business after MBA, many VCs would have come and invested. But I had started idli business.
It's not sexy.
It's not a fancy business.
Yeah.
So people ask me, why do you want to start idli business after MBA?
But businesses need to be. Sometimes I feel the best businesses are a little boring because the sexy businesses are not often.
I strongly believe the role of an entrepreneur is to look around, identify customer problems,
Yes.
and solve it for the customers.
Yes.
When the day you start thinking from a consumer perspective, you will have great products and great business offerings. ID is one such business.
So the problem was people don't have good, reliable, healthy batter.
It is always a tough job to make batter at home. You need skill, and it's a time consuming exercise and boring job.
Yeah.
Right? So if you look at what we have done, we created batter and gave it to customers. We don't sell idli. Before the session, before our interview session, chat session, you were asking me about why are you not selling idli? We don't sell idli. We sell idli batter. A homemaker picks up a pack of idli batter, customize the batter to their taste. Somebody wanted more fermented, less fermented, they customize to their taste. Add uttapam, onion, whatever required, make their favorite uttapam out of it or masala dosa out of it. We basically give the base. Add their love.
Yeah. That personal touch.
Serve to the family.
Yes.
If idli comes out well, she gets a credit, not ID.
Hmm.
And if for some reason dosa is not crispy, she can blame it on me, brand ID. We don't take the credit away from the homemaker. In fact, we protect her from her failures as well.
Insight. That's amazing. I remember when I was at IIM, we did a project for Kellogg's. It was actually Anusha and I, who's my wife now. We were students in college and we did this. And we went and presented it to Kellogg's. We did a study of housewives, and the Kellogg's wasn't doing well in India at that time. And the reason was that they were selling the cereal that it's convenient. Just put, milk and have it, and you don't have to make breakfast and all that. But it was taking credit away from the housewife, because then it's basically telling the housewife that you have to do nothing. But the housewives were saying in surveys that we come across as lazy or inconsiderate.
Let me probably give you 2 tips out there, right? Homemaker is the gatekeeper for the kitchen.
Yes.
She won't let an idli from outside. She's okay to buy idli batter.
Yes.
Second tip is never ever try to replace your customer.
Mm.
Do the job to make her job better.
Okay.
Never replace her role.
Yeah, and that I didn't know that the housewife's role, the idea is not to make like food so convenient that there is no need for her. Right?
She or he.
Or he. Yes, fine. Let's be, yeah. Good. Interesting. And then he struggled and struggled. And when it came to massive growth, how did you manage that? And how did that happen? And because saying tech played a big role, your computer science knowledge played a big role there.
So, couple of things that happened. So in 2014, we got first funding. That was a big relief. We got 35 crore funding. And again, first time I saw crore in my life that time.
Did you tell your dad?
Oh, yeah. I signed a 1 crore check after that. That was 8 years ago. So with that money, we paid pending salaries. We had almost 6 months of salary pending. We paid salaries, used that money for expansion into newer markets. At the same time, one more thing happened. By the way, if you look at the business, myself and my four cousins started the business initially in Bangalore. And then for us to scale up this business to other markets, we didn't have money. So in 2012-13 time, I reached out to my classmates, friends, family friends, right, ex-colleagues, all of them. Couple of them decided to come on board. So Sujit, Abhijit, Rajesh, Banu, Asif, those guys came on board. That was probably one turning point in the history of ID. They put in their hard-earned money, they quit their job and joined ID to grow business into their territory. And they started setting up small factories in their places and selling better. That helped us to scale up the business. That's how we reached Mumbai. You said you were one of the first customer in Mumbai.
Yes, we were waiting.
Credit goes to Sujit, not me.
How big is ID today in terms of metrics?
ID in terms of numbers, we're, as you mentioned, we're close to a $500 million in terms of the market cap. We serve idlis and those paratas and chapatis, all of them, dosas and all of them, to more than 1 million Indians every day.
Wow. And you're also doing a lot of like charity work.
Yes.
What are some of the highlights of that?
Mostly related to childhood memories.
Hmm.
Build low cost homes.
Okay.
We use ID near expiry product to feed the needy on the streets.
Hmm. That's nice. That's nice. And I guess I mean, already told me, I guess, but to the young people watching this, what would you say? Like those who want to become somebody in life, but they don't have any privilege. They're not born in any privilege. Their dad's not rich. They don't have connections. They're not like, but they have a dream. They could be watching this in Kerala. They could be watching in Assam, in Rajasthan, wherever. What do you have to tell that person? What can you tell them to?
Be determined. I think the power of dream is what has helped us to take to this level. Never give up. You decide on. You decide your destiny. It's in your control. If you want to, it's up to you to be whether you want to be a coolie or you want to be an idli businessman.
Idli king, you can say. You are batter king. Yes.
It's up to you to decide.
Oh, that is incredible. How was the experience of coming on this podcast?
Great, really enjoy it.
Yeah.
I think one more point what I missed out and was probably the most important thing is if you look at my life, there are a lot of people played extremely important role in my life. My friends, my teachers, my parents, right, my cousins. Because when we decided to start idli batter business, I was working I was doing my IT job. For the first 3-4 years, 3.5 years, my cousins were running the show, and they took ID to some level. That gave me confidence, and then I became a full-time entrepreneur. So many out there who do not have courage to venture into something of your own, get your right cousins to work with you.
So you were very lucky, and I think you're very grateful for that. You're very generous in acknowledging that, and people have helped you all your life, but you've been at the center of it. You've done it, and I think it's incredible. I think for me, it was a real privilege to have you. I didn't have any expectations because you just hear idli batter king, like. But I kind of saw when I did the research, I saw your background, and I knew there's an incredible story here, and you have an incredible story, and I think it will inspire so many people.
Thank you.
Yeah, You will. And I, guys, those watching, please, thank you for coming until this point. You've come so far in the podcast. We've been talking for so long. But if you would want to support us, do like, subscribe, share, and give your comment. And how about we do this? We tell them to comment. Will you read the comments?
I will.
Okay. So if you give the comments, PC will read all the comments, and maybe you summarize what you learned from this, or what message touched you, what didn't touch you, whatever. Write a comment. Maybe one thing we can do is the 5 comments you like the most.
Hmm.
Uh, you can just choose them, and someone in your team can ask them to send their addresses. You can send them some ID products.
Will do.
Yeah, it'll be sweet. So whatever you want to send, whatever, wherever. So guys, do comment. There are giveaways, and PC will personally see them. And then if your comment is chosen, you'll get a reply saying, please send your address to so and so email. Once you do, you will get a surprise something from ID. How about that, right? And more than anything, we will enjoy your products, but I think today we enjoyed your learnings. To me, it was incredible to see that someone can come from such circumstances, right from your entrepreneurship with the toffee business, whether it's a 4,000 crore business today, doing it all, facing humiliation, difficulty, failure, and still coming out strong. It is really, really, you are the man. You're the man, really.
Thank you.
You're not just distinguished alumnus of IIM, you're a very distinguished Indian. We're very proud to have you as an Indian in our country, really.
Thanks, Saj.
I say it from the bottom of my heart. And guys, I hope you felt the same. And yeah, do, like I said, do like, comment, share your what you thought of this. Thank you guys for watching Deep Talk. That was me, Chetan Bhagat, signing off. Keep watching. Take care.